Oh, I'll wait for you to. Yeah. Thank you, Lisa. All right, well, I'll go ahead and share my screen because we have some things to talk about, but also I'm excited to show you live some things. But before we get into that, I just want to say thank you for sharing a little bit of your day with us. And this is our very first Lunch and Learn, and we're excited about it because we are happy to spend this time with you, but also because we want to just kind of see how it goes and keep the conversation informal, answer your questions, just learn more about what you're doing and what we can help you with. I do have some things to show you, but as you can see, we're a small group, and that's kind of great because we can really make this be the best use of all of our time and make sure that you all get to, ask questions and so on. So I will be, showing you a couple of things, but again, I just want to reiterate that this really is a conversation, and feel free to interrupt me and ask questions or share how you're, might be using some of these features. So welcome. That's my little welcome spiel. Why don't we, I'll let Lisa introduce herself and then also my colleague, Angelica. I know Jan is driving right now. Otherwise we'd do like a full round of intros, but I know she's on mute. So I don't want to cause her any disruption while she's driving. But Lisa, do you want to introduce yourself?
Of course. Hi, I'm Lisa Levinson, and I'm one of the facilitators for the Lumen faculty community. And I'm so looking forward to this community because one of the things that communities do is allow us to learn from each other and share what we're doing. And I always learn so much that I just love to be a part of it. So I'm looking forward to working with you. Please, if you have any questions, reach out to me about the community. And you're sort of the community pioneers, and will help us build it as we go along. So thank you for just jumping in.
I can go next. I'm Angelica. I'm one of the marketing managers at Lumen Learning, and I work with our users to tell their stories and also just share some of the general great things that are happening here at Lumen. So it's a pleasure to meet you guys, and I always love to just add a little short message that if you guys ever want to share your stories or share your experiences, please feel free to always shoot me an email. I love to work with our faculty to just in any type of capacity to share some of the amazing work you guys are doing with students. So welcome and happy to have you guys here.
Thank you. And I'm Sarah Ergan. I'm a product manager here at Lumen. I've worked on Lumen 1 since the very beginning, and before that worked on Waymaker, and on Circles as well. Brett, your name is super familiar to me. I work really closely with Bree Lyons and Jeanette. I know you've been in touch with them a little bit. I want to say, and I might be putting myself on the spot here, but I think that you are at Oregon State. Okay, yes, I got it right. And I think are you in Intro to Business?
Yeah.
Okay, awesome, cool. And Jan, don't come off mute, but I also I believe that you use Intro to Stats. So that's kind of cool that we have two different products that are represented here today. Cool. So I'm going to go ahead and jump in and show you some of the new features that we have released recently and that I'm hoping you've been able to see and use and answer any questions that you might have. I'm also gonna I can give you a little bit of a sneak peek of some things that we're working on. But let's just jump in. So the first thing,
Sarah, I just wanted to give Annette a chance to say what she was using. She also
I'm sorry. I didn't see that we had someone else. Yay. Yeah. Hi, Annette. Welcome. Sorry. Thank you, Angelica. I'm sharing my screen, so
Hi.
I'm not looking at all of our participants.
Hello. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, just fine.
Awesome. I actually took a deep dive into Lumen over the last couple of semesters, and I'm using Waymaker for everything: organizational behavior, human resources, business communication, business computer applications, and I'm sure I'm forgetting one, but I'm currently right now this semester using Lumen 1 for intro to business and marketing.
Awesome. Okay. Wonderful. That's great. Thanks for joining us.
I'm excited.
Cool. All right, so I'm going to go through a couple of things. You may have already seen some of these. I'm going to show you live as well. I just have a couple of slides just to kind of do an intro. So the first thing that we'll talk about is that we did release the ability for you as the instructor to see the correct answers on your students' quiz attempts or quiz results through the Engagement Center. And that's really nice because we're hoping it'll be useful to you if you might, if you're sitting down in an office hours or a one-on-one conversation with your students, where you can go into the Engagement Center and not only see their detailed results in terms of, how they did and what their chosen answer is, but you can also see the correct answer or what we as Lumen have deemed the correct answer. That can be helpful for lots of different reasons. So I'm going to show you how to find access to that. That is live now. Another thing that we have live now are some improvements to the student experience in terms of the study plan. So not to get ahead of myself, but we are working on a really nice set of improvements and enhancements to the student experience that'll be coming this summer. Though those will be for our fall users. But we have released some sort of small but mighty little improvements to the student experience this spring. As you can imagine, we try to be really mindful about changing anything in the student experience mid-semester because that can be confusing for students. And so these are just a few little things that we thought would be helpful to students and that did come directly from both student and instructor feedback. So one of the things that you can see here is that we've made that quiz button, the quiz prompt, more dynamic. Because we did hear feedback from instructors that the first thing that students wanted to do when they came to the study plan is click that bright blue take quiz button. And so what we've done is we didn't change any of the functionality here. So just because it's in this sort of white state, it doesn't mean that we're blocking students from accessing it. It's not gated, but just visually, it's less prominent. And we're hoping that that encourages students to work through the formative assessments and the content before hopping into the quiz. We're also, this navigational improvement for putting a back to study plan button down at the bottom of the last learn page is something that students have asked for. They don't like always having to scroll back up. And we are working on some pretty cool navigational improvements for students that'll come this summer. But this seemed like adding this back to study plan button seemed like something that would help our students right now and wouldn't be too disruptive. So that's live as well. And then I skipped over something. This is another feature that is actually going live this afternoon. So this is the ability for you as the instructor to have more control over quiz access in the study plans. So what we heard from instructors is that some instructors, not all, there's a kind of a wide range of feeling and thought about this. Some instructors want to control access to the quizzes in a deeper way than others. And so, as you know, the quizzes come into your learning management system, both via the study plan, but also as their own link in the learning management system. So having that discrete link or the direct access to quiz link within your learning management system lets you use all of your learning management system tools like putting a due date or controlling access. But if we had instructors who did want to control access through that direct quiz link in their learning management system, the fact that the quizzes were still accessible in the study plan was causing some confusion. So this is a totally configurable setting within the Engagement Center that I'll show you here in a moment that just allows you to, if you're one of those instructors that does care a little bit more about how and when your students access quizzes, you can remove the quiz access from the study plan and then just use all of your learning management system controls. All right, so those are the three things I want to show you. I'm just going to actually go live now. Let me go first into the engagement center where I'll show you where you can find access to those correct answers. So the engagement center, we are sort of constantly making tweaks and improvements to the engagement center. We hope that you're finding it useful, and we hope that you visit often. We do have research that shows the more instructors come to the engagement center and leverage the tools here, it does have a very positive impact on their students, which is great. So now when you come in here, when you come down and click See Data by Student, this is where you can get to your students' quiz scores. And if you click on their quiz score, you will see that student's quiz result. You see their chosen answer, and in the case that their answer is incorrect, we are adding what the correct answer is right here in this little feedback box. So this happens to be a psychology course, but if you look back here at, it's a little bit small. I specifically chose a stats course to do this screenshot from because I want our stats and some of our other more quantitative course users to know that we don't just provide the correct answer for multiple choice. We also provide it for something like a calculation, like you see here. All right. So this is how you can come in, and as you're reviewing student results here, you'll be able to see, again, the student's chosen answer and then what we have marked as the correct answer.
When is that going to be live?
This is live right now.
That's not, at least in the one question I'm looking at right now, it's not showing any answers.
That's a great point, Brett. Thanks for pointing that out. The caveat here is that this feature is only going to exist for quizzes that were taken after we released the enhancement. Okay. So I know that's not the most awesome thing, but we needed to get it out there as soon as we can.
Okay.
So just know that for quizzes moving forward, since we released this, that's when it'll be there.
Got it.
But it is not retroactive. So that's an excellent point, and thank you for reminding me to clarify that.
No problem.
Any other questions or thoughts about this feature or how you might use it? Has anybody seen this live yet in their engagement center? Cool. Well, hopefully after today, you'll go in and check it out. And, you know, one of the great things about the faculty community is if you have any questions after you get in and start sort of looking around at things, put your question right there in the community. I'm in there all the time. Lisa's in there all the time. It's just our space to help you, and it'll help other people as well. All right. So let me move, while I'm in the engagement center, why don't I start giving you a preview of this next feature, which is around the quiz access. Now, this is not live at this moment, but it is going to go live later this afternoon. So this evening or tomorrow morning, you will see this. So between the three of you, do you have thoughts or feelings about the quiz access in the study plan? Some instructors just want their students to just kind of have everything all at once, and some instructors really want to kind of control that a little bit more. I'm curious what you all's thoughts are around that.
I would prefer to control the access. Just the way I build my Canvas shells, I think it would be clearer for my students to only be able to access the quiz in the module rather than also in the study plan. So that's my personal preference.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, now that I would have that option, I think I would be more inclined to do that too, just to have that kind of separation and have them focus on the study plan. Because I've been back and forth with you guys about the way the study plan shows things, and getting my students to actually work through the whole study plan has been an issue sometimes, even though, you know, it's pretty clear, but so yeah, I like that separation, that ability to do that anyway.
Thanks.
I'm letting them, I'm letting them have the quiz right now. I may change my mind later. Frankly, they don't really even begin it until right before it's due, so they're not trying to skip ahead to a quiz. But they don't want to do the study plan. They want to just do the quiz, and they are finding out that they really need to do the study plan in order to do well in the quiz. So I'm leaving it open, but I may change my mind later on down the line if I can get them to do the study plan first.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's been the challenge. It's been,
They-
or they do one part of the study plan and they don't scroll down anymore. And it's just like,
Right.
and I have a total onboarding process where I'm like
Mm-hmm.
going through that with them and getting it to stick sometimes. I'm like, wow.
So what
Yeah.
I am requiring is that they go through the study plan for once and do the quiz before they come to lecture on the whatever the lecture is, that whatever module we're doing that week. And so then I say, I may give periodic quizzes, so they have to come somewhat prepared. Now we're kind of more than halfway through the semester, so they're trying to get away with not doing anything before they come and, just come and watch the lecture. And so, but in the beginning, they're kind of good about it because they don't know any better yet, but that's what I'm trying to do. And then I give them another chance to do the quiz after the lecture to improve their grade. So now, though, the midterms are out and they're wondering how they can improve their grade, giving them that opportunity to go through the study plans again and the quizzes again to increase the grade. So that seems to be a level of interest right now, because grades are kind of a shock sometimes. So anyway, that's what I'm doing. I may change my mind later. This is my first semester this way. So
Well, thanks for sharing all that. This is sort of exactly why we wanted to create this feature and just have it be a setting that you can control, because you can try it and see how it works, and you can, just change it pretty easily, depending on what your priorities are. So let me show you how it works. Again, this will be going live in your engagement center later this afternoon. So what you'll do if you want to check this out is you'll come to settings, or the engagement center, and you'll click on settings and then go to assessment. So this is a quiz setting. So that's why it's under this assessments tab here. And up at the top, you're going to see this new area, which is labeled quiz access. And so hopefully the messaging is clear here, but it's sort of a reminder, right, that the module quizzes are available inside each study plan and as their own assessment or quiz link within the learning management system. And if you want to remove the quizzes from study plans, your students will only be able to access quizzes through the links in their LMS, okay? So just to sort of reiterate, I'll come back over here and just click here. This is a study plan sort of as it exists right now. I've got the quizzes on, and I can see that I could go in and I could click my quiz attempt right there, right? Let's turn it off. So I'm going to click remove quizzes from all study plans. Now, this is not a study plan by study plan setting. This is, you are now removing the quizzes from every single study plan within your course, okay? So I'm going to click that. You get a confirmation. I'll click OK. And now the wording updates to kind of let you know the state that you're in. And I'll come back over here. And as you can see, the quizzes are just gone. They're just gone. They disappeared. Now, you might be wondering, what does it look like if I have a student who's already completed a quiz? I'm just going to hop over to student view here. In this case, this student has taken one quiz and gotten an 88. Now, this is not dependent upon when that setting was changed. The point is that if your student has completed a quiz from the LMS link, so you have them turned off in the study plan, but they've gone in and accessed it through the LMS link because you've made it available, for example, they still get all of the helpful feedback within their study plan. We don't want to take that away from them, right? And if you go down to the bottom, they still see that they've done, they've done that. So what we are doing is we are surfacing up the completed attempt data here within the study plan, but we are just suppressing that ability to start a new quiz from the study plan. All right. And then, it's just as easy to go back and change that if you want. Now I will say you might want to let your students kind of, I don't know, this is totally your call, but if you're going to be sort of turning things on and off, you might kind of want to let them know, or I would probably recommend setting it and then not changing it a lot during the semester just to, avoid confusion there. But my point is that you can just add them right back. If something's not working with how you've configured that, you can just add it right back. Thoughts, questions? Cool. While I'm in here, do you want to see the feature where the take quiz button sort of comes active? Now, this is only going to matter if you leave your study plans on, if you leave your quizzes on in the study plan, right? But I think I have this one set up here where in this particular study plan, you can see that it's not that it's I can take it. Again, I'm not gating it here. I could take it. But the reason why it's not blue is because I haven't done this self-check. I've done all the other ones. All the other self-checks are done, as you can see there. But if I do this self-check, it'll turn blue. I'm just going to click through it really quickly. And now you can see that it sort of activates. Again, it's just a visual cue. And then that other enhancement that we added here on the Learn pages is on the very last page, instead of having the student scroll all the way back up to the top, they can just come down and click back to study plan from right here. It's just less scrolling. So we're hoping that that was sort of a small but mighty little improvement for students there. I wanted to give you a really quick peek, some insight on some things that we're working on. I want to invite you to participate in the feedback process that we try to undertake whenever we make changes to Lumen 1. These are the big things that we're working on right now. Just make this a little bigger for you. So this is something, this first bullet is hopefully a small but mighty improvement where we're adding the duration of a student's quiz attempt within the engagement center, so you can see how long students have spent on individual quiz attempts. That should actually be live in the next couple of weeks, so that's coming soon. The next one is a biggie. So study plan customization. This is the ability for, some instructors don't teach every single topic within a study plan. And so if you're not teaching a topic, you could then hide that topic, and then it likewise removes all of the formative and summative assessment items that are tied to the learning outcomes for the topic. So your students don't have access to the content, and then they're not assessed on that content either. That's going to be coming this summer. So we're hard at work on that. If you have any thoughts or want to look at the mocks for what we're doing, I would love to work with you and show you what we're doing. And then I've already given you a little bit of info about some of the usability improvements to the study plan. So we're just trying to sort of make it a little less visually overwhelming. There's a lot in there, which might be partly why students don't want to do it. But based on their feedback, we have worked with students and met with students and also done surveys who have told us that it's just a lot. So we're trying to sort of make it visually less overwhelming, less scrolling, trying to help students who are on mobile devices there. We also know that students can become confused sometimes around how to get their progress, their participation points. So we're adding kind of a progress tracker that's also based directly on student feedback. We know that students want to see the correct answer on their self-checks so that they can use that as that formative learning experience. And we also know that students really want the ability to access completed quizzes. We're not going to surface the correct answers for this initial release because that raises other concerns that instructors have about summative assessments. But students have told us loud and clear that they want the ability to get sort of back to their results page after they've taken a quiz because they want to use that as a study opportunity. And yeah, so those are some of the big things that we're working on. Any thoughts or questions, or would you like to be involved in any of our feedback sessions?
I would be involved in the study plan stuff because that's been the sore point, that my students have had of just not navigating that very well for whatever reasons. And so I'm glad to see that you're pulling them and working on it because that was really a thing.
Yeah, I'll reach out to you, Brett, and we'll find a time to talk more about that. I'd love to work with you.
Yeah,
I'd
because
like to be-
Lumen, the first time I used Lumen 1, the first term, there was some delays also that
Right.
were happening. And so that made that first term a little bit of that was fun. But it was much better this last term. So it worked just fine. So
Glad you. I was involved in some of the conversations around what was going on in your course. So I know what you're referring to. I'm sorry that happened, but I am glad that it's improved.
well, I appreciate you guys got on it and you're very responsive whenever I've had something to ask or any little issue. You guys are great about that. So I appreciate that.
Yeah, thank you for that.
I'd be interested in being involved in any discussions about the study plan. I took a poll or I did a Padlet in my class. I have a lot of students in my intro to business class. It's an online section. And so I did a Padlet of a keep, stop, start and asked students, what should we keep doing? What should we start doing? What should we stop doing? And overwhelmingly, the students love the study plan. They love the way it works. They love the interaction. So I think definitely on the right track, at least from a social science perspective. I know stats is maybe a little bit different. What I would like what I'm working with my students on is having them visualize sort of what's inside the study plan. Like I think they're just now really realizing that there are sort of subchapters within the study plans, and in each subchapter there's the learn it, apply it. They didn't really grasp the sort of, there's a word for that, and I'm trying to, it's kind of like the site map or whatever of how the content actually flows through the study plan. So I think if there's a way that, I mean, I think it's my responsibility as an instructor to help them understand, the way to navigate the study plans at a deeper level than, the introductory video that you all provide. And I think that's great. So anyway, I'd love to be involved in study plan development. Is there an appropriate time or place or group to talk about other usability things? I don't want to take up time right now, but there are definitely some things that my students and I have noticed about, sometimes the content not being fully accessible on the screen, and when a student doesn't take a quiz or complete the study plan, the fact that they didn't do the work doesn't automatically transfer over to Canvas the way their scores would. So I have to go in and automatically put zeros in, which is fine. But just little things like that. Is there a time where we can get together and talk about that kind of thing?
Yeah,
I
because I would be on that too.
Okay.
Same
Um,
thing. It's like, okay, now I have to go put all the zeros in, and it's not hard, but
Mm-mm.
why wouldn't it do that? It was after the due date, so I have it set, so it automatically zeros people that, it tends to get their attention.
Yeah. I would love to reach out to both of you and set up some time just to fully dedicate to that conversation. I am here to hear all of your feedback, what's working well, what's not working well. That's how we decide what we're going to change and how we're going to make improvements. So those are really critical conversations. So I'll reach out.
And I'm going to suggest that we start a conversation in the community, because when things happen, sometimes you don't have access to that conversation, but you can still document it and raise it. And we monitor it so we can come in and answer it. So, I think having both is probably what we want to do. And then we can also hear from other faculty and see what the big issues are. And it helps us improve the product, but it also allows you to continuously let us know what's not working for you.
Thank you for that. I hadn't used the community yet in that way, and I really appreciate you bringing that up. I've reached out to technical support, which has been very helpful, but I think you're right. I think there's a pedagogical aspect to the product that tech support sometimes might not always, fully engage in or understand. So I will definitely do that, and I would be happy to spend time with you all. I intend to continue to use this product. I would love a list of dates as to when new courses are going to be moved over to Lumen One, because that will, like I said, I use pretty much every course that you all have right now. and I'd like to transition them to Lumen One as soon as possible as that happens. And I teach anywhere from 200 to 300 students a semester. So I have a really good group of test people that can provide feedback and whatnot. And so feel free to use me if you have any anything you'd like to check out or ask, or I'm happy to support the development of this. I think it's a wonderful service and product.
Thanks.
It is
Annette.
good. And I have probably 200 to 300 students, or a couple hundred students every term myself in my Business 101. I also teach entrepreneurship sometimes, and I wish you had more there, but if you ever want to develop one, let me know. So
Business law. Oh my gosh. Most of my students are business law students, and it would be so wonderful if we had a business law course.
We will let
don't
our
have much to
learning
do,
team
right?
know.
Yeah.
Pop one of those, pop a couple more courses out, no biggie.
We're trying. We really are.
Jan, I wanted to check in with you because I know you had some questions and I don't want them to go unanswered. So what were your burning questions?
No, they've been answered actually, just through listening, so it's good. Some of the quiz questions are a little confusing with the students. So I was wondering if there was any way I could modify them.
That is a great question. And that is something that we're beginning to research in terms of a future enhancement. So the short answer is not right now. But that is something that we're hearing about as a need. So around assessment customization specifically. And so it's very much on my mind to start understanding more about the why and what are the problems that we're hoping to solve by adding that type of capability. So that's also another area, Jan, where would love to have a conversation about, how you might use that and what you'd be looking for.
Yeah, I'm using the test questions Some I've deleted and added my own so I can modify the tests,
Mhm.
and that's been good. Mm.
You mean through the files, right? The files that you're
Well, I
importing.
I uploaded
Yeah.
the file and into, actually there's like 2 files, but I split it into 4 tests.
Right.
And then some of the questions I threw out, but and then added in my own questions. So I was able to do that pretty easily. And but just the quiz sometimes gets frustrating, and most of the frustration leads to the fact that they don't want to do the study plan. They're trying to shortcut. Everything has to be a shortcut. So whatever. But that's, that's what I'm doing now. Mm.
One of the suggestions that I have and will do if it meets your needs is to have that general, sort of, here's some glitches, here's what we need to talk about, but also do it in the discipline specific topics so that I can say, in my stats course, this quiz question doesn't make sense to my students, and we can get more specific about that. So in just have a general one, but also one for each course.
Yeah, I definitely think it's because they're skipping steps, and that's a problem they're bringing on themselves, actually. But like, and I really have to get used to the questions, because like I got tripped up on there was an empirical rule question where I was teaching empirical rule, how to figure it out on StatCrunch. So I was giving precise percentages of, within 2 standard deviations of the mean and 1 standard deviation of the mean, in between or something. And I was giving decimal places, but it was not asking for decimal places. So that was something that I would have made a change and then realized later that they were asking, they weren't asking for decimal places, where I was giving very precise answers. So I have to really get used to all the questions and what you're asking for, and go through it so I can be prepared too. So I don't want to jump to making a bunch of changes until I go through this whole thing a couple times, at least once. So I really don't have anything now. Just seeing the answers to some of the questions was helpful, but I wasn't able to do that at first, and then I was able. I know you said it's going to be to this afternoon, but I've been able to see some of the answers, so I don't
Oh,
know.
no, that one's actually live now, the
Oh.
ability to see the correct answer, but it's not retroactive. So if you go back to some of the quizzes that the quizzes that your students took early in the semester, it won't be there because it only flows in sort of on the moving forward side.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So that's it. That's it. Nothing, no big deal.
Annette, you look like you're bursting.
Yeah, I had a quick question. So as I've also been learning along with my students and learning that the way the students earn their participation points in the study plan is by taking the readiness check and then completing the self checks. And I think that that's fine. And I don't have an argument for or against that, but I'm just curious to know, has there been any discussion, because it is student behavior to try to shortcut. And I'm just wondering if there's been any discussion about adding some sort of points to the apply it section of each of the subchapters, just to remind them that they need to do that next step in order to earn all of their study plan points. It might be a way to encourage the students to train them to go through each of the parts of the study plan. I don't know.
Yeah, no, that's interesting. So I'm interested in, Brett, it looks like you're shaking your head with that too. Is that something that including the apply it portion of the study plan topic in the participation grade for the entire study plan. Is that something that you've thought about as well?
Absolutely. Yeah, it's like I figure they probably ignore it most of the time. So they go, oh, this is what the minimum I have to do. Cool. I figured it out, get my points, and never actually apply it, which is what we really want them to do.
Right.
So yeah, that I was wondering about that. I'm glad that Annette brought it up because yeah, those are some of the real value that I think a lot of my students neglect to even look at.
Yeah, that's great feedback. Thanks for sharing that.
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah, I'll have to dig in on that a little bit more. We have heard, so I'm interested, and I think this kind of might vary across disciplines. So this could be an interesting conversation since we do have different disciplines represented here. But in stats in particular, the practice problems is something that we have heard from some of our intro to stats users that they would really like those to be like for a homework grade or have some sort of assignment grade or value tied to the practice problems. So we do hear that pretty frequently. That's also kind of on my closer up to the top of my kind of radar right now to listen for. I think that there's some variation in the practice problems between the disciplines. So in some of the disciplines, there are a little bit more things like flashcards or other types of practice opportunities. And in stats, they are actual practice problems. So that's something that we do hear about relatively commonly. I'll have to start asking more questions about the apply it's.
You know, one thing that I have done, and I apologize, I think I've done this in my human resources class, so this would be a Waymaker thing. But a way that I've been able to utilize more of the study plan as far as counting towards points that the students earn in class is, you know, there are some really fun exercises that students can do within the study plan. And what I'll do sometimes is I'll create an assignment in my LMS and I'll tell them, do this exercise and take a screenshot of your results and submit it. And then I'll give them points that way. It's just a way to more fully utilize the interactive features of the study plan and give students credit for doing that. It's just a little clunky doing it that way. So it'd be great if it was built into the study plan a little bit more. And, you know, I know right now a lot of what is fed back points wise is multiple choice and maybe true false questions. I do like the flexibility of being able to create, you know, matching and ordering and things like that. So, you know, I don't mind building my own assignments based on things that I pull from the study plan. But yeah, I do think that there would be some room for some. I just think that the study plans are so amazing, and I would love to hold the students more accountable for actually getting the most out of them.
Yeah. Yeah, I love that. Thank you for sharing that.
Well, thank you so much, all of you, because we're way over time and nobody was saying, gotta go. But we do want to be respectful of that. So thanks for your input and for being, you know, our Lunch and Learn pioneers. And, you know, we look forward to getting your feedback, continuously getting your feedback, and also seeing you in the faculty community. And again, reach out to Angelica or myself or Sarah, because we're here for you.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Thanks
Thank
for
you.
spending this time with us. Have a great rest of the day and we'll be in touch.
You too.
Awesome. You too. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.